Welcome into the rundown, everybody. Kendall Smith alongside of Collyn Taylor here at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, following South Carolina's 45-20 loss against the Tennessee Volunteers. And after the game, Collyn, Coach Beamer talked about South Carolina's offensive play calling. He said, "It's good. What do you want me to say? It's terrible." What do you make of the offensive play calling this afternoon?
It's a work in progress. Some good, some bad, but they need to be better. They need to execute a little bit better. They need to probably call some better plays, do some different things offensively, because right now what they're doing, you see flashes of it at times, but it's just not working on the whole.
And Collyn, you said in order for South Carolina to get a victory in this afternoon's game against Tennessee, they would have to get off to a quick start. They didn't do that today. They came back in the second half, looked a little bit stronger. But in terms of starting off so slowly, what needs to change for South Carolina in order to get their feet moving a little bit quicker?
It goes back to play calling and execution offensively, and you need to play better. You need to come out with a bigger sense of urgency and maybe stylistically take some shots down the field. You need to just kind of change up your thinking, your sense of urgency, because you're not going to win many games falling down like today, 28-0, but 7-0, 10-0, 14-0. It's just a hard hole to come back from offensively when you're not playing.
You have people out there saying, let's make quick changes, let's fire Satterfield right now. You're letting people sit and trust the process. What do you think the best plan of attack going forward is for South Carolina?
It's you got to try to change some things. You rarely see mid-season coaching changes, very rarely, and it's just about kind of figuring out your sweet spot, your identity. And it's been 6 games and they still haven't figured that out. So you need to figure out an identity and stick with it and just trust your process, what you think works, and you evaluate that week in and week out from a play calling, from a scheme standpoint, and then you sit down at the end of the season and do an evaluation of it on the whole.
So Collyn, next week South Carolina takes on Vanderbilt at home for homecoming. Obviously no victory is a given, but heading into practice this week, if you were the head coach, if you were in changing your shoes, what would be your main points of emphasis?
Yeah, keep establishing the run. Do what you're doing defensively. You had some really bad plays today, but defense played well for the most part. And then it's just about, figuring out your quarterback, figuring out the right play calls to do to accentuate your talent. And they haven't necessarily been doing that as well as they can, but that's the goal moving forward. You got to get this offense going. You got to get it to where you feel like you can put up 25 to 30 and more points consistently, because you're not going to win many games where you're playing offensively right now.
Well, Collyn, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this edition of The Rundown. Alongside Collyn Taylor, I'm Kendall Smith here at Neyland Stadium. We'll see you next time.